Hello and welcome to Best Top 5. I'm Best Guy. So today we're talking about the top 5 Best Picture Award winners. There's a lot of movies that have won awards for Best Picture. I've gone to the list that goes to 1920 and all the way to 2017. There's a lot of movies. So I narrowed it down to 5, but I had a big list that was like 35 movies. I chose these films based on the cinematography, the acting, and the type of emotion that they were trying to get out from the viewer, and how they affected me as the viewer. So I have a couple of movies that are honorable mentions. I won't go too in depth in them. They were gonna be on my list, but there are other films on this list that are perhaps better in many ways than the ones that are excluded. So the first honorable mention is Silence of the Lambs. Won the Best Picture Award in 1991. This is a movie that I really like for its acting from Anthony Hopkins. He does a great job interpreting the role of Hannibal Lecter. There was another actor who played the character of Hannibal Lecter before in a movie called Manhunter, which was directed by Michael Mann. Good movie, and could be considered a predecessor to Silence of the Lambs. But Silence of the Lambs, when it was released in 1991, it shocked so many because it's a mixture of horror and thriller, and you never really can guess what's going to happen. So I was going to put it on this list, but it didn't make it. Great movie, check it out. Another honorable mention is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is an adaptation from a book. Originally, believe it or not, Kirk Douglas was going to play the part that went on to Jack Nicholson. Great movie, well directed, and it also has a really sad ending. Sadly, did not make it to this list. Another honorable mention is No Country for Old Men, directed by the Coen brothers. This movie not only has great directing, great cinematography, but also has good use of lighting. The sequence in a hotel where he doesn't know who's going to come in, great use of practical lighting. Check it out. Also, sadly, did not make it to this list. So now we're going to go into the top 5 Oscar-winning movies, the ones that won Best Picture. Number 5 is The Departed. It's supposed to be The Departed, but since it takes place in Boston, I'm pronouncing it The Departed. Yo, The Departed. That's my terrible Boston accent.
Are any of your accents or impersonations not terrible?
Pauly Shore. I am. This is me. I am Pauly Shore.
You live your life as
Yeah.
Pauly Shore.
The only thing that's missing is the drugs and alcohol. But number 5 is The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg, and Matt Damon. And this is before he did that terrible movie Downsizing, way before that. So The Departed is a remake of a film called The Infernal Affairs, which is an Asian film, and that movie is good on its own. And I actually mentioned this film as one of the top remakes because it's so well made. It doesn't do a scene-by-scene remake. It does something completely different. And The Departed, if you have not seen it, don't check out any trailers, don't read up on it, just watch it because there's a lot of double crossing. It's one of those films that mixes the gangster vibe with thriller and suspense and some action and some gory action, may I add. I have seen this movie a couple of times. I have it on Blu-ray. Number 4 is The Godfather Part 2, starring Al Pacino. So I was going to put Godfather Part 1 on this list, and I always tend to put 2 rather than 1 as the best film because, in my opinion, Godfather 2 does surpass Part 1. Now, don't get confused. I don't think Godfather 1 is a terrible movie. It's a really good movie. It's very well made. But Part 2, something about that story intrigues me a little bit more. Seeing Al Pacino's character becoming the king of this empire, I really enjoy. And this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and I actually do think Godfather 3 is a decent film. I don't think it's an amazing movie, but I think it's all right. But Godfather 2 is the better film, and it deserves the award for Best Picture. It has some of the best acting by Al Pacino, and everyone else around him does an amazing job. And I think it's Francis Ford Coppola's best film. Some might put Apocalypse Now, or the original Godfather, or Rumblefish. Those are all great movies, but I think his best film is The Godfather Part 2, and it's a very well-deserved Best Picture award. For number 3, we have a Western that I actually put in a Western top 5, and that's Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, which won the Best Picture Award in 1992. So the story in Unforgiven, very quickly, it's just a bounty hunter who has abandoned that lifestyle. He's abandoned being a killer. He's abandoned being an alcoholic. He changed his life. He has kids, but something calls him back. And Morgan Freeman's also in this film, and he has a history with Clint Eastwood's character, and they set out on this really dark pursuit. And there's all these characters that have they're multi-layered, and not everyone is who they seem as they are. And there's a deconstruction of the Western, and it's such a well-deserved Oscar. When I first saw this movie as a kid, because I grew up watching Westerns, I actually did not like it that much. I didn't understand it. I had not lived that much. And when you watch this as an adult, you see how these characters impact you. Check it out. It is a very dark film, very violent, and I think it's one of Clint Eastwood's best performances. Second probably only to what he did in $1 Million Baby, or also some of the stuff that he did in the Westerns that he did in Italy. For number 2, we have My Mama Always Says, Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And that's a movie that stars Pauly Shore. I'm kidding. That's Forrest Gump with Tom Hanks. Everyone's favorite American hero. Everyone loves Tom Hanks. And I love Tom Hanks, and I love Forrest Gump. This is a movie that's so quotable, you know. One day I decided to just start running. And he started running. And then you have also really cool lines where he's talking to Jenny, and Jenny is not really reciprocating what he wants. He goes, Jenny, why don't you love me? I may be dumb, but I know what love is. Fuck Jenny. Man, Jenny was a bitch, man.
What'd she die of, dog?
I think she died of AIDS.
They ever say it?
They never say it, but she used a lot of drugs. She was hoeing.
Yeah, she was home.
She was hoeing, and Forrest was building an empire. He built Bubba Shrimp. He went to war. He did ping pong competition. And then he goes, then one day Johnny came to my house and we got married. And then one day she just died. I miss you, Johnny. But there's a really good scene. It's emotional when he's talking to his son. Well, he's talking to Jenny, and he asks an important question. I think this is the reason why the movie won Best Picture, and also Tom Hanks won the award too, because of this line. When he is looking at the kid and he sees that he's smart, he says, crying, "Is he dumb?" Like he wants to know if his kid has going to suffer the same consequences of not being a smart man like he is. So this is a movie that, of course, there's so many other movies that I could have put, but Forrest Gump always makes me cry. It has so many different genres in one. It's a war film, it's a drama, it's a comedy, it's a romance. There's so many things, and it's one of those films that I can't think of anyone who hasn't seen Forrest Gump. And if you haven't, you should, because it deserves the award that it got for Best Picture. But what can possibly top the creme of the crop that I think Forrest Gump is? Well, another film that has so many different emotions as well is Rocky. Yo, Adrian, I did it! Fuck, I don't know how Stallone does that voice of Stallone, my God. Rocky is one of those movies that every time I see it, it inspires me to work out for a week. And then I forget about the movie, and then I become a fat ass, as I always am. But Rocky is a story that everyone aspires to be. It doesn't have to be sports. It could be just regular life. It's a guy who has nothing and works his way up to be someone. And it's also a love story. It's a guy who's, he is misunderstood, and he, falls in love with this girl. And there's this whole thing going on. I love Rocky. To me, it's Stallone's best movie. And, I love each sequel for what it is, but one cemented, just like to Terminator cemented Arnold for the action star that he is. This showed not only that Stallone is a good actor, but he's a good writer, because he wrote the story of Rocky. And originally he wasn't going to star as the title role. It was supposed to be someone else, because no one believed in him playing this guy. They wanted someone who was like a Robert Redford or someone who was known. So Stallone fought to be the guy and the lead, and he did it. And yo, Adrian, I did it! And you have this movie. Again, just like Forrest Gump, this movie always makes me cry. It makes me cry because you're seeing the road that he's going, everything that's getting in his way. Once in a lifetime opportunity to be a champion. And I don't want to say this is like a spoiler or anything, but maybe he doesn't get everything he wants at the end, but he still triumphed. He still went through this road, and that's how life is. And it's a very good moral on how life is. And this is one of those movies that, at least for me, because I didn't see this when it first came out, it's one of those movies that I watched with my dad, and it's one of those films that I have on my list of like that I've always seen with my parents, and it always brings back memories. So I put this as one of the best films ever made, for its story, its cinematography, the acting, the score. Every time you hear that score, you know you have to like, ooh, I want to start working out or something. So yeah, number 1 is Rocky for the Best Picture award. And again, a lot of people to this day still go to Philadelphia to go up those stairs. So anyway, guys, I'm Best Guy, and this is the top 5 Best Picture winners. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone. Anyway, guys, until next time.